Now frosted top cover is out. Okay. Now we want to inspect the lower half. लोअर ऑफ करने के लिए अभी क्या है, हमारा पिस्टन ऑलरेडी हैंग है ऊपर. अभी हमको क्या करना है, नीचे वाला भी हैंग करना है. नीचे वाला मीन्स दिस स्लाइडिंग पार्ट. तो अभी क्या करेंगे, जो पिस्टन विच इज हैंगिंग ऑन टॉप विल टेक दिस टू टीडीसी. अभी ऑलरेडी हमारा पिस्टन ऊपर हैंगिंग है, टॉप कवर इज रिमूव. नाउ विल रोटेट द इंजन एंड टेक दिस स्लाइडिंग पार्ट टू टीडीसी. टीडीसी पे ले जाएंगे तो क्या होगा, जो पिस्टन है, पिस्टन विल सिट इन इट्स प्लेस. जहाँ पे पिस्टन के बैठने की जगह है वहाँ आके टच हो जाएगा. ठीक है, फुट आके बैठ गया. उसके बाद हम लोग चाहिए तो चेन ब्लॉक निकाल देंगे जो पिस्टन को हमने हैंग करके रखा था. अभी सपोर्ट नहीं किया हमने, स्लाइडिंग वाले को सपोर्ट नहीं गया. अभी हमने खाली पिस्टन का जो हैंगिंग अरेंजमेंट था वो निकाल के पिस्टन फुट को वहाँ कर दिया, सिट कर दिया. तो अभी हमारा सिर्फ टॉप हाफ आउटसाइड है. पिस्टन फुट इज अगेन बैक इन प्लेस एंड लोअर हाफ अभी निकालने के लिए रेडी है. लोअर हाफ को हम लोग ने जो साइड में जो टूल लगाया है वो रेडी है. ओके, तो नाउ विल सपोर्ट द लोअर हाफ. एंड जो गाइड शू है, गाइड शू को 4 क्लैंप लगाएंगे हम. ठीक है, इधर गया, पिस्टन आके बैठ गया इधर. उसके बाद ये जो चेन लगाया हमने, 2 चेन लगा दिए इधर. साइड में जो टूल लगाए थे ना, साइड में 2 क्लैंप, उससे ऐसे चेन लगाया, प्लस ये वाला. जो स्लाइडिंग सरफेस है ना, स्लाइडिंग सरफेस ऐसे 4 क्लैंपिंग अरेंजमेंट आता है. ये क्लैंप दिस हियर, तो क्या हो जाएगा, स्लाइडिंग सरफेस चारों आके उसमें बैठ जाएंगे. ठीक है, वो चारों बैठ गए. अब नीचे नहीं जाने वाले चारों. अभी नीचे क्या जा सकता है, खाली कनेक्टिंग रॉड. हम लोग सिर्फ कनेक्टिंग रॉड. पिस्टन भी आके इसके ऊपर बैठ गया. पिस्टन ये पूरा यहाँ पे रेस्ट हो गया, इस पे रेस्ट हो गया. अभी हमारा खाली कनेक्टिंग रॉड यहाँ से, ये जो है ना, ये वाला ड्राइंग देखो. ठीक है, पिस्टन यहाँ बैठा हुआ है, इसको हमने सपोर्ट करके यहाँ पे रख दिया है. नाउ विल रोटेट इट, में भी उल्टा घुमा के उसको नीचे की तरफ ले जाएंगे. ठीक है, ऐसा घुमाएंगे एंड विल एडजस्ट द चेन ब्लॉक पोजीशन सो दैट इट डज नॉट हिट द बेयरिंग पार्ट. जो जर्नल पार्ट है ना, यहाँ का जर्नल पे टच नहीं होना चाहिए. इट शुड नॉट टच द जर्नल, इट शुड नॉट डैमेज द जर्नल. विल मेक अ कीप अ इवन डिस्टेंस विद देम. स्लो नीचे ले जाके कम लाइक. ओके, अब इसके बाद ये सरफेस इज रेडी फॉर इंस्पेक्शन. हम लोग ऊपर से अभी आ गया ना, नीचे बैठा था, वी कुड नॉट इंस्पेक्ट. नाउ इट इज आउटसाइड द पिन, नाउ वी कैन इंस्पेक्ट. So this part is our inspection complete. Okay. हाँ, चैनल को all around 50% लेंथ. उसका लेंथ कुछ है 15 mm है फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर इंजन. Oil wedge length L is 15 mm. Okay. So if it is 50% reduced in 7.5 mm आ गया. हाँ, 15 mm 1.5 cm. कवर ये निकाल दिया हमने. ये भी निकाल दिया था. इसके बाद हम लोग कहाँ गए थे, top part is only check the surface how it is. There is no channel in the top part. There is no channel. Main load bearing उसका नीचे ही आता है. In process the main load comes down below. Actually this is a design challenge. All the load is coming on the lower part and the channel thickness. If you increase the channel width, no, what will happen? The surface area is reducing. Actually, we need more the surface area for taking the load will be uniformly distributed. But because of the channels, what is happening? We need channel. Channel is a requirement for channel नहीं होगा, lubrication नहीं होगा, bearing is gone. So that is that channel का width इतना नहीं होना चाहिए that load is not evenly divided और ज़्यादा छोटा भी नहीं होना चाहिए so that lubrication is less. So that is a like बीच का एक रास्ता निकाल के इतना dimension they come to this value. Okay. Now just thin shell bearing. It is there, channels are there in that one. That bearing coating is also very small. Something 2 to 3 mm on the coating, the bearing coating is there. And bearing wear rate of crosshead is, if I am not wrong, 0.01 mm every 10,000 hours. Bearing. So if everything is okay, your lube oil quality is good, your temperatures are maintained, that crosshead bearing will not wear more than 0.01 mm every 10,000 hours. 0.01 10,000 hours. So it is like if it is oil quality is good, everything maintained, it will last maybe the life of the engine. 1 lakh hours easily. I'll confirm if I am not wrong. Can't get the manual. Pin inspection is there. Pin inspection will include the surface condition of the pin. Any scratch surface condition, you will check for any scratch mark. Actually, it will reflect in your bearing. When you inspect the bearing, we see wear, how much wear is there, any scratch mark is there. We are inspecting the bearing, we'll see how much overlay is there. Overlay means how much amount of bearing is still intact, how much the metal is exposed. 5 to 10%, 15% bearing exposure is depends on the classification society whether it is acceptable or not. So up to 10 to 15% normally classification they will say it is accepted. But if you have the thoda sa you are getting 5% wear over here, okay, and you see a scratch mark is there which is very thin line but it is deep, so that may not be acceptable. One slight area worn is okay, maybe acceptable, but if there is kuch oil ke sath kuch kachra aa gaya andar, some metal piece has come which has caused a deep spore, but that is maybe very less, maybe, but that may also not be acceptable. Okay, so we see check for overlay of the bearing material. Then we see the scratch marks. Any signs of overheating. Okay. So damage, whatever it will be there, it will be, if any wear mark is there in the pin, that will be going to transfer to the bearing. It will go to the bearing. Okay. one, then okay, we came up to this much. Okay, then we will hang it here. We will hang it here, and we will rotate the engine so that this comes out through. This is the door. So this part, the lower part of the bearing, should come to the door, so that we can renew the bearing from there. So the next step is, with the help of chain block, we'll take it like this, move it close to the door, and from here we can access the bearing. Bearing will have a locking pin like this, locking pin hoga, so that which will keep the bearing in place. Yeah, the side में एक screw जैसा होगा, you will have a screw sort of arrangement here, something like this. Dismount the locking screw and turn the bearing shell so far that an eye bolt can be mounted. So यहाँ पे like बिठा होगा, so like one screw will be there which will keep the bearing locked in place, so that it should not come out of place. No, nip is not there in this one. Nip is not there. Yeah, it is keeping in place, tightening it. ऊपर नीचे पकड़ के रखिए. Now we have done removal. Now again we go for the mounting process. Mounting is same exactly the opposite what we have followed. Now we have removed the bottom part of the bearing shell. We have placed the new bearing there. We'll put the new bearing, then fully dry, no oil. That area should not be lubricated. Fully dry, we put it, and then once we put it, we lock that screw हमने निकाला. We'll put and lock this. Okay. Then again, now our connecting rod is like this. We have changed the bearing here. Now what we will do with the chain block, we will move and take the chain block, take the connecting rod base to the pin. Okay. So when we take it to the pin, we should make sure that the bearing is not touching or not damaging the pin. Okay. Okay, we have put the pin and we are taking it slowly, seeing that it sits directly onto the pin. Okay. Once it sits in the pin, what we will do? Pin पे आके बैठ गया. Okay. Pin पे आके बैठ गया means now our sliding part is resting on the bearing, lower end of the bearing. Okay. Our piston is resting on the sliding part. So now we can remove the guide shoe. Yeah, sorry, not guide shoe. This supports. Guide shoe support we can. No, piston. You can keep it hanging, but not required actually. Yes. So sometimes what happens? That hook, no, you will require that hook. जहाँ पे you have put the piston, no, you may require that hook to ये निकाला ना, lower half hang करने के लिए. So you may require that one to hang the lower half of the connecting, this lower half, not lower half, top half of the connecting rod. Chain block लगाने के लिए sometimes you will not have that four bolts. You only two places will be there. So again you have to use that one to chain block hold this. In this example, what we have done, we have already made the piston rest on your crosshead. Piston is resting on your crosshead, and piston is resting on your crosshead, and crosshead is resting on this four supports. So it is not falling down. You can keep the piston hanging also, and you can use this support also. So piston आपका ऊपर hang रह गया, and you have put this support. This support will only hang your crosshead. Once it is coming back in place, अब क्या रहेगा? ऊपर का Okay. If your piston is on top, you place your upper half on top of it, provided that precaution क्या है इस वाले में, the threads when you pass through that one, the thread should not get damaged. Plus, thread should not damage the like bearing part में damage नहीं होना चाहिए when you are putting it. They have explained in both if the piston is mounted, slowly turn down until it is fully suspended with the chain. The piston is mounted, suspend कर दो piston. अगर नहीं है, then it is already mounted. Then we come directly to this part. Put it this one, and we can inspect it. So once it is up, now we again with the chain block arrangement we have to make. We have to hang one end of the top cover and bring it center with the chain block. Again we make it like this and slowly we lower it inside the stud slots. Okay. Take care that the bearing studs do not damage the process. Okay, चले गए धीरे धीरे. फिर then नीचे आ गए stud. Then we need to tighten it. The जितना pressure hydraulic के लिए 1500 bar है. We have to tighten this one. अभी पिस्टन रॉड दिखा रहे हैं. ठीक है. एक बार क्लियर है उसको क्या क्या करना है आप बोलेंगे शुरू से विल ट्राई टू रिवाइज कि क्या हाउ वी स्टार्ट अबाउट. Piston rod. There will be a hanging arrangement inside where you put the chain box or the chain hang. Okay. Con rod will not be resting your crosset. And crosset is supported with the 4 blocks. And we have to arrange in such a way that all the weight is equally distributed on all 4 of them. when you take out the crosshead, we have to make sure that you are not damaging the pin. It has to be like evenly to move inside, so that way we have to adjust the chain cross. If piston is hanging on top, then okay, then you leave it hanging, then you can put the top cover. If you bring the foot down, then how will you enter the top cover? Top. What is resting on connecting rod? Okay. Okay. And the silic wire and all. When bearing is done, so once bearing renewal is done, then you run for maybe as per maker instruction, maybe 100 hours or 200 hours. Then again, that after running of that much hour, again we need to check the clearance. So if anything is wrong or anything has gone wrong, that initial few hours the damage will be more. So we can come to know that first 100 hours or 200 hours the maker instruction. So normally they say 200 hours you run the engine, then again carry out the not full load. We'll not go at full load initially. We'll not go at full load, maybe 25 to 40% load. Half load will go, and we'll inspect the bearing condition. We'll stop the flow. We'll wait to cool down, and then we'll check the clearance. Next, we will move on to Hankomi 40. Basically there is a distance piece like it's a pin, like it will sit where your piston foot is sitting. No, piston foot is sitting on your cut in your crank pin. So उसके बीच में एक pin जैसा रहेगा. So when you remove the piston, you can see that pin will be resting on the it's a connecting like distance piece जैसा है, ये ऐसा है ना इधर. फ्लो का पाइप है ना यहाँ पे. So this is like this and this is your ऐसा एक पिन रहेगा. So this is the connecting rod bit. This is the pin जो यहाँ पे से बैठते हैं. So when we do overall, sometimes this is one thing which is a tricky. This when you remove the piston, this should remain here only. Sometimes what happens, this will come out with your piston. Okay, if it comes out with this piston, we normally ignore this. What will happen? ये piston जाएगा, हम लोग रख देंगे stand पे. नया piston आएगा, नया पिस्टन में तो नॉर्मली ये होता नहीं है, ये पीस यही रहता है एंड इट विल सिट विदाउट दिस पीस बाहर रह जाएगा। तो इट्स इम्पोर्टेंट, अगर आ भी गया पिस्टन के साथ उससे निकाल के नए पिस्टन पे लगा हुआ यहाँ पे डालो। हाँ अलाइनिंग है, फ्लो देने के लिए क्या है, एक दो फ्लो है ना, वन इज मूविंग अप अनदर इज मूविंग आउट, तो उस फ्लो के बीच का इंटरफेस है, आई मीन मिक्स नहीं होने के लिए। अगर ये अगर होगा तो फ्लो कम हो जाएगा आपका एक साइड में, तो यहीं पे बाईपास होना स्टार्ट हो जाएगा। यहाँ ओरिंग नहीं है, इट्स ओनली मेटल टू मेटल। Proceed around beer rate, I'll just confirm, you can see it here. The wear rates for all the bearings are mentioned, acceptable range and acceptable running hours, कि कितने running hours में कितना wear rate is acceptable. Liner it is 0.1 mm every 1000 hours. liner, liner. Zero point zero 0.01 up to 10,000. Normally, main crank pin and crosset bearings have very low wear rate. Wear rates up to 0.01 mm every 10,000 hours are considered acceptable, but lower values can be expected. 0.05 that is for liner. ये लाइनर का दिया 0.05 mm per 1000 hours. 0.01 बोला था मैंने. 0.01 mm every 10, मैंने यही बोला था, every 10,000 hours. So what we will do next class, we will take this one. Crossfit हो गया, we will go for crank pin bearing overall, the lower one. ठीक है, crank pin bearing हो गया. Then we will see the connecting rod. Suppose connecting rod renew करना है, so how we will take out the connecting rod outside and put a new connecting rod. ठीक है, पहले crank pin bearing देखेंगे, how to insert the cranking bearing. Cranking bearing होने के बाद connecting rod बाहर निकाल के नया connecting rod डालेंगे. Then उसके बाद क्या बोलते हैं यहाँ पे main bearing. Then we will go to the main bearing. ये हो गया, ये जो करेंगे main bearing. Then we will do thrust bearing. ये सर्विस लेटर ही है, मैन वेव का सर्विस लेटर. Secure of main bearing shell, initial cause spark erosion. Spark erosion is earthing, so that shaft earth may not be working properly in this particular bearing. So this is